Imagine waking up every morning, not because you are rested and ready to embrace the day, but because an alarm clock has declared that your time is no longer yours. Think about how much of your life is spent not in living, but in earning the permission to live. What if I told you that in the modern world, slavery did not vanish, it simply changed its shape? The chains are no longer made of iron, but of bills, debt, and the endless pursuit of more. Today we will expose the truth about the system you live in, why you may feel trapped without even realizing it, and how to break free from the invisible walls that have been built around your existence. And I promise you, the final revelation I will share will be the most powerful of them all. A truth that can completely change the way you see your life, your work, and your freedom. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video, and let your voice be heard in the comments. This is not just another piece of content. It may be the moment you start questioning the very structure of the life you have been told to accept. Stay until the end, because what we will uncover may shake the foundations of how you view your place in this world. We live in a time where the old image of slavery, shackles, chains, masters, has been replaced by something far more subtle and in many ways far more effective. In ancient times, a slave knew they were a slave. Today, the system makes sure you believe you are free. You can choose where to work, what to buy, what to wear, but beneath those choices lies a single, immovable reality. Without constant work, your survival is at risk, and that, in essence, is control. The philosopher Erich Fromm once wrote about the marketing orientation of modern man, where a human being sees themselves as a product to be sold, a set of skills and traits packaged for the marketplace. In this system, your value is tied to productivity, your worth measured in hours and output. You no longer exist simply as a human, you exist as an economic unit. Ask yourself, when was the last time you made a decision entirely free from financial considerations? How many of your choices, where you live, what you eat, the dreams you chase or abandon, have been determined not by what you truly desire, but by what your work allows you to afford? This is not accidental. The structure we inhabit is designed for perpetual motion. Work consumes the majority of our waking hours. Recovery from work consumes much of what remains. Leisure, true unpressured leisure, is rare, and when it does appear, it often comes laced with anxiety, the dread of the next shift, the next bill, the next demand. Historically, slavery was based on the total ownership of another human being. The master provided basic sustenance to keep the slave alive, because the slave's labor was the master's wealth. In the modern economy, this relationship has been repackaged. You are responsible for your own sustenance, but the terms are set by forces you do not control. The landlord, the bank, the employer, they have replaced the master, and the rent, debt, and paycheck have replaced the whip. The sociologist Max Weber described the iron cage of modern life, a world where bureaucracy, economic necessity, and rational efficiency trap individuals in a system from which escape feels impossible. You may think you are chasing personal success, but in reality, you are running in circles inside the cage, performing tasks whose ultimate purpose is to keep the system alive. And here is the cruelest part. The system rewards compliance with survival, not with freedom. If you work hard enough, you might buy more comforts, but you rarely buy more time. And time, unlike money, can never be earned back. In this sense, modern slavery is not about physical chains, but about the theft of the most precious resource you have, your life hours. Consider this. In a standard modern career, you may give 40 years of your prime energy to a company or industry. Those decades are not your extra time, they are your life. The birthdays you miss, the passions you never explore, the books you never write, the trips you never take. These are not sacrifices you make for survival. They are the very essence of your existence, traded away for security that is never fully secure. But here's the twist. Many accept this arrangement willingly, even proudly. We glorify busyness, equate exhaustion with virtue, and wear our overwork as a badge of honor. This is perhaps the most dangerous illusion of all, the belief that the system's demands are our own choice. When we mistake compulsion for freedom, we stop resisting, and when resistance dies, the chains become invisible. Now I ask you, if the majority of your waking life is sold for survival, are you truly free? Or are you living in a more sophisticated form of servitude, one that hides behind paychecks and promotions? Share your thoughts below, because this conversation is far more urgent than most people realize. And remember, what we have uncovered so far is only the beginning. In the next part, we will peel back even more layers of this modern machinery, revealing how it not only claims your time, but also rewires your very sense of self. Stay with me. The most important truth is still to come. The tragedy of the new slavery is not only that it consumes your time, it is that it reshapes your identity until you no longer see yourself outside of your role as a worker. When you meet someone new, one of the first questions asked is, "What do you do?" And the answer, almost without exception, is framed in terms of your job. We have been conditioned to equate our profession with our identity, as if the human being you are and the labor you perform are the same thing. Psychologist Abraham Maslow, in his hierarchy of needs, placed self-actualization, the fulfillment of one's potential, at the top of human aspiration. Yet for most, the pursuit of self-actualization is postponed indefinitely, pushed aside by the relentless demands of economic survival. Instead of exploring who we truly are, we devote the best of our creativity and strength to fulfilling tasks designed for someone else's vision, someone else's profit. And what is the cost? The cost is subtle, yet devastating. The quiet erosion of your soul. You begin to lose the ability to imagine a life not defined by work. Even your free moments are colonized. You scroll through your phone to numb your fatigue. You shop to reward yourself for enduring another week. You plan your next vacation not as a journey of the spirit, but as a brief escape before returning to the grind. Think of the hamster wheel. The creature runs endlessly, but the scenery never changes. In the modern world, we are given the illusion of movement, promotions, raises, new positions, but the wheel itself is fixed. You may run faster, but you do not leave the cage. You may earn more, but you pay more, locking yourself deeper into dependency on the very system you wish to escape. Karl Marx once wrote about alienation, the separation of the worker from the product of their labor, from their own humanity and from each other. In the modern workplace, you may spend years creating results you never own, for purposes you do not truly control, alongside colleagues who are also trapped in the same invisible chains. The alienation is complete when you begin to measure your worth only through performance reviews, salary figures, and approval from superiors who see you as replaceable. And here lies another layer of the trap: debt. Debt transforms the worker into a permanent servant. Credit cards, mortgages, student loans. They are marketed as tools for freedom, but function as mechanisms of control. Once you owe, you must keep working to pay. The fear of losing your income becomes the leash that keeps you compliant. The bank does not need to punish you. The system ensures you will punish yourself with overwork to meet your obligations, but there is an even deeper psychological manipulation at play. Society feeds you a narrative that hard work is the highest virtue, that your dignity comes from your labor. It tells you that success means climbing the ladder, buying more, upgrading constantly. The brilliance of this illusion is that it keeps you striving endlessly without asking who placed the ladder there or where it truly leads. Look around. The cities are full of people rushing from one obligation to another, eyes fixed on screens, ears plugged into devices, minds clouded with to-do lists. How many of them are truly living in the present moment? How many feel that their life belongs to them, rather than to their employer, their creditors, or the demands of constant productivity? I am not suggesting that work is inherently evil. Work can be noble, creative, and fulfilling. The danger lies in the imbalance. When work expands to occupy every space of your existence, when it becomes the measure of your worth and the condition of your survival, at that point, you are no longer working to live, you are living to work. And perhaps the most chilling part is how normalized this has become. We are taught to expect it, to accept it as just the way things are. Young people are warned that life will be hard, that they must compete relentlessly, that burnout is simply part of adulthood. Rarely are they told that the system itself could be questioned, that there are other ways to live. This normalization is the final defense of the new slavery. If you believe the cage is the whole world, you will never try to escape. If you accept that life must be spent in constant toil for the privilege of survival, you will defend the very structure that imprisons you. So I ask you again, are you living a life of your own making? Or are you fulfilling a role designed for you by powers you will never meet, What would you do? Who would you be if survival did not depend on selling most of your waking hours to the highest bidder? In the next part, we will go even deeper. We will explore how the system not only captures your time and identity, but also shapes your thoughts, beliefs, and even your dreams, ensuring that you remain not just a compliant worker, but a willing one. And we will begin to uncover the first cracks in the wall, the first steps toward reclaiming what is yours. Stay with me because the most powerful truth is drawing closer. One of the most insidious aspects of the new slavery is that it doesn't only control what you do, it begins to control what you believe is possible. When a person spends enough time in the same mental framework, their imagination adapts to fit inside it. The walls of the cage are not only physical or economic, they are mental. This is why the system invests so heavily in shaping the culture, the stories, and even the language we use to describe our lives. Think about the phrases that dominate our conversations. Time is money. You have to pay your dues. The grind never stops. These are not innocent expressions. They are linguistic chains. They train you to see time only through the lens of productivity and to measure your value by how much you produce for others. The poet and philosopher Henry David Thoreau once said, "The cost of a thing is the amount of life which is required to be exchanged for it." Yes, but we are rarely encouraged to measure cost this way. Instead, we are taught to measure cost in dollars, as if money and life were the same. Advertising, media, and corporate culture all play a role in reinforcing the cycle. You work to buy things, and those things are marketed to you as the reward for your labor. But they are not merely products. They are symbols of status, proof to others that you are playing the game well. A car is not just a vehicle, it's a statement of success. A luxury watch is not for telling time, it's for telling the world you have value. This creates a loop where you must keep working not only to survive, but to maintain the image of survival, the appearance of thriving. But here is the cruel paradox. The more you work to maintain that image, the less time you have to actually live the life the image is supposed to represent. You spend your prime years chasing a picture of freedom, while the actual experience of freedom slips away. The system also shapes your dreams in subtle ways. From a young age, children are asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" But the acceptable answers are almost always job titles: doctor, lawyer, engineer, entrepreneur. Rarely does anyone encourage a child to answer, "I want to be peaceful," or "I want to be wise," or "I want to explore the world." The framework of identity is set early. Your value will come from your role in the labor market. This conditioning runs deep, and it's why even those who could potentially step off the wheel often don't. They have been taught that without constant work, life has no meaning. Retirement for many is not a liberation, but a crisis of identity. If you've spent your whole life being defined by your productivity, who are you when the work stops? And so the new slavery sustains itself not through open coercion, but through internalized consent. People police themselves. They accept schedules that exhaust them, debts that bind them, and dreams that are always postponed. And when they feel the weight of this life, they blame themselves for not working hard enough, instead of questioning the structure that demands so much. This is why change is so difficult. It is not simply a matter of quitting a job or moving to a new city. It requires a profound shift in perception, the courage to step outside of the narrative that has been handed to you, and to imagine a life that serves your humanity instead of draining it. But before this shift can happen, you must see the system for what it truly is. The sociologist Zygmunt Bauman spoke of liquid modernity, a state in which everything, jobs, relationships, communities, becomes fluid, unstable, and temporary. In this world, workers are kept in a state of constant insecurity, always needing to adapt, to prove themselves, to remain employable. This insecurity is not a flaw in the system. It is a feature. It keeps you from feeling safe enough to pause, reflect, and choose differently. Yet even within this controlled environment, there are small cracks, moments when the illusion falters. Perhaps it's during a long walk when you realize you feel more alive than during a week of paid labor. Perhaps it's seeing someone live with less money but more joy, and wondering if the equation you've been taught is wrong. These moments matter because they are signs that the walls, though high, are not impenetrable. The first step toward reclaiming your life is recognizing that the structure of modern work is not inevitable. It is a human invention, and like all human inventions, it can be questioned, challenged, and changed. The great danger is believing it is as fixed as the laws of nature. The great hope is realizing it is not. In the next and final part, we will confront the most important and liberating truth of all, one that goes beyond simply criticizing the system. We will talk about the mindset shift and practical steps that can begin to restore your time, your identity, and your freedom, even while living inside the very system designed to keep you bound. This is where awareness becomes action, and where the possibility of a truly free life emerges. There is a truth so profound, so unsettling to the system, that once you see it, you can never return to the same unquestioning compliance. You were never born to be property, not of a master, not of a corporation, not of an economy. You were born with time as your only true wealth, and the way you spend that time is the ultimate expression of your freedom or your enslavement. The most powerful revelation is this: the system does not truly own you unless you believe that survival and fulfillment can only come through it. The walls of the cage are not made of unbreakable steel. They are made of agreements, habits, and fears that you have been conditioned to accept. Once you stop agreeing, the cage begins to weaken. This does not mean quitting your job tomorrow or abandoning all responsibilities. It means reclaiming control over your life in the spaces where the system is weakest. The choices you make about your time, your attention, and your values. Every moment you spend doing something that aligns with your true self, rather than with the demands of the machine, is an act of resistance. You can start small. Begin by asking yourself simple but radical questions. If money were no object, how would I spend my day? Who would I spend it with? What would I create, learn, or explore? Then look at your current life and see where you can make space for even fragments of that vision now. Not someday, not when you retire, but now, because the years you give away do not come back. Remember that freedom is not only the absence of chains, but the presence of purpose. If you live each day only to fulfill obligations, you are surviving, not living. But if you use your work as a tool, rather than letting it use you, you can begin to shape a life that serves your humanity. This might mean seeking simpler living to reduce dependence on income, developing skills that free you from a single employer, or surrounding yourself with people who value you for who you are, not for what you produce. And here lies the deeper shift. Stop defining success by the measures the system gives you. A larger paycheck does not necessarily mean a richer life. A more prestigious title does not guarantee more meaning. The truest measure of success is the amount of your life you can live on your own terms. We can draw strength from those who have broken free. History and the present are full of examples. Artists who refuse to trade their vision for mass appeal, families who live simply so they can spend more time together, individuals who build businesses that reflect their values instead of exploiting their energy. They are not mythic heroes. They are people who decided to change the equation. Of course, the system will resist. It thrives on conformity and consumption, and it will whisper in your ear that you are foolish for stepping off the treadmill. But understand this: every act of reclaiming your time is a blow to the machinery. Every moment you spend in genuine presence, in creativity, in love, in rest, is proof that they have not taken everything from you. As Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the ultimate deprivation of freedom, once wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." You may not control every aspect of the world you live in, but you can control the terms on which you live in it. So here is the challenge and the promise. Do not wait for permission to live your life. Begin reclaiming it now, in whatever ways are within your reach. Choose time over things, choose presence over productivity, choose meaning over approval. These choices, repeated daily, will change the trajectory of your life far more than any promotion, raise, or material acquisition ever could. Imagine a future where work is something you do, not something you are, where your value is not measured by output, but by the depth of your experiences and relationships, where you can look back and say that you truly lived and not only worked. That future is possible, but only if you begin building it in the present. The new slavery is subtle, persistent, and deeply entrenched, but it is not invincible. The key has always been in your hands: the awareness to see the cage and the courage to walk toward the open door. Your time is your life, and your life is far too valuable to be spent merely surviving. The world does not need another exhausted worker. It needs a fully alive human being, and that can be you. The question is no longer whether the new slavery exists. The question is, will you continue to live inside it, or will you take back the only thing that has ever truly belonged to you, your time, your freedom, your life? Now is the moment to decide. Thanks for looking.